Good evening to you, one and all. Shadow Temple of the Zeldathon and Lionhearted teams back here with more Persona 5 Royal. Hope everybody's having themselves a good night so far. Sorry I'm later than lately usual late. I was actually doing it was part of an improv workshop for the Zeldathon team. We're actually we'll talk about it more as we get along, but regardless, it was a 90-minute workshop that started at 8 p.m. Eastern and went to about 9:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we had a little bit more past that and all that. So but hey, you know what it means? We can get ourselves back into more Persona 5 Royal, where we are trying to work our way through the casino. Sei Sajima has got her very own palace that we are trying to dig our way through as best we can, and hoping to knock all this out to make sure that we don't have to remember what we were doing inside the casino when it comes to post-Zeldathon, because it's going to be a couple days before we stream this again. This will actually be the last Persona stream for the week, and then not again until probably Wednesday night next week, if at all. It just really depends on how long the marathon goes at that point. But yeah, it's gonna be a thing. Let's go ahead and get ourselves rolling on this in the meantime, and then we'll worry about all the rest after that. Yes, I'd like the Thieves Guild. Yes, please. Hey, NC Does Art. Hey, Twister. Hey, Trina. Hey, Conmaster. Hey, Emerald Skies. Hey, Mr. Wilson. Hey, Tealdi. Hey, Abyssal Hawk. Hey, Conmaster. Hey, Cunning Dolphin. And hey, Random. Hello. Last run should end around 10:30, so I might do kind of a late start stream kind of thing. And just kind of hook up immediately afterwards and just have some fun with that. In the meantime, though, let us go and begin once again. I'm pretty sure I did call out multiple people twice, and I'm sorry. Today it seems especially I've had kind of a bad short-term memory loss sort of thing. That was a little weird, if I'm being honest. But you know what? You guys love me anyway, for some reason. I appreciate it, because there's no reason for you to. Anyway, again, hope everybody's having themselves a good Wednesday. We did a lot of improv in the past hour and a half or so, and that was pretty neat. So there's this local improv shop called Comedy Sports, Milwaukee specifically, that is doing online personal workshops. The idea being that they are improv workshops where there are two hosts from Comedy Sports, and then everybody else kind of piles in, and then you just kind of play some games together over Zoom in order to try and figure out how to be better at talking in the talkie thing in front of the lookie box. Yeah. It's super fun though, and I every time I'm in that space, there's this sort of, this sounds weird, but there's this sort of like muscle, like this mental muscle that kind of starts getting engaged whenever you get into improv mode, and that you feel, when you feel it stretched, then you really feel it, and it's like, yeah, I'm into this. But as soon as you like don't use it for a while, you kind of forget what you're doing with it. And it takes a little bit to kind of swing that thing back in. And I think it's really important, especially if you want to try streaming, is that you want to kind of try to have some sort of way of being able to kind of engage your mind well beyond just the game that you're playing. Because if you're just thinking about the game as you're streaming, there's not a whole lot of entertainment that's going to come out of that, right? Yeah, your brain has to be all over the place. It has to be willing to think quick on its feet. It has to be willing to jump at the drop of a hat to something strange or something unusual, and just play it out, you know? Hey, Naku, how you doing? How many in chat improv their way through life? Every day of my goddamn day of my life. Every second. Every just singular moment of my life is dealt with improv. All right, so we're in the casino here. It is our job in the casino to win 50,000 chips. There's that big old count on the top of the screen there, and we need to hit 50,000 chips before we're allowed to move on. We already went to the dice game and earned over 6,000, which is pretty nice. Part of stream is kind of learning to take out the filter too, yes. I think that's something that I ran into a lot when I started streaming. You can trust yourself to say things that are not terrible more often than you think. I think for the longest time in my life, I really thought I had to control everything I said, because as soon as I stopped thinking about what I said, that would be the moment that I start breaking things and I start losing control of the situation, and like I would get in big trouble for it. Is the music slightly loud? I can turn it down if you want. I swear I'm turning down my capture card every day now. Hey Treble, how you doing? You can trust your brain a lot more than you think you can. And that comes from someone whose actual fear is not being in control of what he's expressing. Marissa knows this extremely well. When we first started dating, one thing she consistently noted to me was that I always seem to have a filter on myself. Do you miss the filter, my dear? No? That's good. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's still some things you should not be throwing out there. No hard, insidious, swear words. Nothing that's going to personally incriminate you in any sort of crime. Plead the fifth consistently, guys. Come on. Rule number 1 about committing crimes. And also just not destroying yourself. And also just a general point of punch up. Don't punch down. Because remember, as long as you remember that, there's not a whole lot of worry that you have to think about. Anyway,
welcome to the slot room. Here you'll be playing a game that requires you to match the patterns on the rotating wheels.
No.
We're here to make money, not to play your games.
I am well aware of that. Though to be perfectly honest, I've been granted permission to kill every last one of you here.
What? Okay, I guess we're getting killed now, so that's fun. How's the audio now, by the way, guys? Does it sound all right?
Let's go.
Blast this thing out of the sky. I don't know. Doesn't punching down hurt your hand? Yes. But it also hurts the people below you more. I guess I should explain myself when I say punch down versus punch up. You will go far in life, and you will make more friends and more wholesome friends, and just be a generally better person in general. If you, whenever you're making jokes at the expense of something or someone, make sure that there's someone above your pay grade, someone above your level of power, right? Someone that has more privilege and power in society to you, compared to regular random people, right? If you're punching down, if you're trying to hit people that have a harder time in life than you, that is just you like shoving what you got in their face, if that makes sense.
It's a step.
So that includes, things like making fun of people with disabilities, or being a goddamn racist, or like looking down on poor people if you find yourself slightly less poor than them. You're all poor in the eyes of Jeff Bezos, Twitch daddy. Come on, let's be honest. Self-punches. There's also self-punching. But just like actually punching yourself in the face, only do it for comedy, and only do it or make sure you're doing it with severe moderation, because eventually your brain will stop thinking that, oh, you're actually where am I going with this? Your brain will stop thinking that you're just pretending, and will start taking it as for realsies, and that's not good, right? So be kind to yourself is what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be literally more famous or richer necessarily. Those are fine. But keep working people in positions of power, right? Who have higher power than yourself. If you punch yourself and it hurts, are you strong or weak? It's called, at that point, it's just masochism. You gotta be careful for that. No, you don't count up for me saying it, by the way. It appears as though these interferences are unavoidable. We must be ever vigilant. Wait, why did the guests around us react to that battle? It is probably due to Saya-san's perception of other people in the courtroom. Perhaps as she sees it, they only care for their own victory, while ignoring the needs of others.
You're right.
And you know what, Trouble Notes? It's why I accept the jabs at my expense. I'm okay with that. While streaming, and I'm not saying that I'm superior to you, but I'm in a position of power higher than you guys, right? That's just that is just the established sort of societal roles of a stream versus chat. There's nothing wrong with it, but if I'm like going off and I've done this before, and I sometimes feel bad afterwards. If I pick on one in particular person in chat too often, then that means that I'm hitting somebody, right? I have no real reason to be hitting. And my people might find it funny, but it's not very nice. Twitch staff appears. Ah! Yes, Daddy. That reaction is certainly different than what we saw on the lower floor. I wonder if that trend grows stronger the higher up you go into the court system. It is possible. In any case, we can now freely access the slot room. We should go look around. Although I doubt we'll find a fair fight waiting for us in the scamming casino. I do like this slot bridge here. I think that's a really cute idea, and I think casinos should do it. Whoa! Damn! This is a crazy number of slots. Yeah. I would expect they're all rigged to prevent us from ever winning. Then we should deal with that first. No, I believe it would be prudent to examine the slot area further. Casinos hold their higher limit slots somewhere in the back. If we were going to circumvent their trick, would it not be more efficient to do so on those? That's assuming we'll even be able to solve the problem. I trust in your ability to handle such a matter. Let's go look for that sweet slot machine. You guys want to play slots? Feel free to go ahead and try it. I hold nothing against you or anybody else who wants to do that. But man, do I not like slot machines. I like gambling, but I don't like them slots because you could try it. And definitely, if it's for you, great. For me, what it is, though, is I put money in a machine, I pull a lever, it spins, and then nothing happens. And then you have to put more money into the machine to make something happen or not happen again. There's sometimes a moment that you win something and it feels really good. It just doesn't happen often enough, and you have very little agency in the matter other than pulling the lever. Hey, isn't that a terminal? Can you mess with it and figure out how they're cheating, Oracle? Well, this one's on standby. Basically, I'm gonna have to activate it remotely from a main terminal somewhere else.
I see.
So this one is useless unless we can access the main hub. Oh well, we should at least commit this place to memory for now. Yeah, I like games that have agency, even though that within itself is kind of an illusion, isn't it? Because the games that they picked for you to play when it comes to gambling, still you are at a disadvantage from winning more money over time. The idea is that the house always wins, right? If that makes sense. The idea being that the casino wouldn't keep running as a casino. What was that? Where'd you come from? I did not see that person in there. What's happening? Reposition. Oh. Okay. That's fine. Let's do it. Can you go on a rant about claw machines being rigged? As long as you do it without doing all upper caps, sure. Play the boss game out because there's that free Roblox app. Yeah. We did it, and we didn't have to do anything.
I feel like I need more.
Settle down there. Goodness. Someone fanned down Haru for a second.
Focus.
Okay, the question is, can I get up there? Yes, I can. Aha! Let us crawl in. Secret tunnel, secret tunnel. Hey Darth, I'm doing all right. How you doing tonight? In my experience, Trouble Notes, constant picking is all right as long as you actually establish that it's okay with the other person, right? Like if everybody except, for example, the person. Oh,
Is there another way?
As an example, if everybody but the person who's getting picked on has agreed that this is a funny thing to do and it's all in good fun, but the person who is being picked upon is left out of that conversation, then it's an unhealthy relationship. If everybody's in on the joke together and they're all having a good time with it and it's all funny and they're all, not sad, then great.
I have something.
So the masks in this game are you kind of in the case of this game, literally rip off the mask in order to reveal your true power, which is the persona that pops out of you. In psychology, we all wear masks. I know it sounds super deep, bruh, but that's actually part of Jungian psychology, is that we all have these various masks that we wear for different people in different situations to protect ourselves, to help us adapt to the situation that we find ourselves in. For example, the persona that I put upon for my streams is very different than the character that I am for Marissa, for example, right? You wouldn't necessarily want, for one, Marissa wouldn't want me shouting in her ear all the time at a broadcaster's kind of pace. It just wouldn't fit very well, and she wouldn't feel like she was talking to actually me. Just as I don't talk to you like I do to her.
Your true form.
Now, doesn't mean that there can't be similarities in those things. By all means, there can be several similarities between those different ideas. But to kind of take it down to your own point, how you talk to your teachers at school is different than how you talk to your parents. That is how it's different. You talk to your friends, to your principal, to your brother or sister. You all have different ways of communicating to these different people, and you kind of put on different masks. You assume different roles to accommodate those different situations. Let's just hit this boy. I bet you I got nothing. I got enough to tank. Whoa, boom! Nailed it. Well done. All right. Fire? No fire.
Wind attacks shouldn't be used. Look
Okay.
for help.
I should just be able to kind of punch my way through these guys, and then I'll sigh the elephant. Ah!
Don't lose.
That's no fun.
Trust the melody.
There we go.
Freeze.
Let's just get this guy. We already have a Ganesha. They're all usually take his potato or dinner. Or a sourdough, instead. Call you Nako Taco in a different stream instead of your actual name preferred. Shut that down. Yeah. But you shouldn't always. One thing that you should make sure that you're doing when it comes to teasing people and stuff like that
Nice
is
work. Keep it up and vamonos.
don't assume that. I mean, the person who's being picked upon should have the gumption to say something about it, but it doesn't mean they will. And so when it comes to talking to people and making sure and however you tease them or pick at them or have fun with them, make sure that they're on board with it, right? It's just a little check-in or something like that, just to make sure everything's good. Never assume anything when it comes to the feelings of others, because what you experience in a space doesn't necessarily accommodate others. Something I have to deal with all the time when I'm doing summer camp.
Show me your true form.
A kid will be like,
Surprise attack
"Hey, dick,"
successful.
and it's like,
Just don't lose.
"No, that's not appropriate here." And he's like, "But that's what my friends do. I didn't know." And it's like, "Yeah, but those are your friends. These are different people. These are new people that we're talking to. And you need to treat them with the kind of respect that they're hoping for. And if you don't know what that is, find the fuck out."
Let's keep up this pace.
Just like I thought.
It's very easy to forget, especially if you get used to talking to people in a certain way and you hang out with a certain set of friends and things like that.
Okay.
Totally. So I get introspective whenever I take improv classes. That's by design, which is great. But yeah. Something also that improv teaches me that I'm very, very bad at, and I'm sorry, Marissa. I'm a terrible active listener. Improv demands that you listen to the people that you're riffing off of, and if you are bad at listening or you try to cut them off at a certain point, you don't get all the information that you need. is important. So I went to a place through the claw machine, grabbed the same thing twice. You only tried twice? Yeah, no, that'll happen. That'll definitely happen. Boundaries and consent are important in all parts of your life, absolutely. Whether it be talking, whether it be intimacy, whether it be even like solicitation of like sales and things like that, right? Yes, that guest is throwing in lots of money. Let him feel like he's on a winning streak, then make him lose big on the final round. They're telling the dealers how to rig the games. We anticipated as much. Wait, but there are no dealers with slot machines. Excuse me, sir. If there are dealers for your slot machines, you're doing slot machines wrong. Both times drop the thing. Yeah, no, those machines are typically a little bit rigged. Just to let you know. Just to get you used to that.
Joker.
There's a door nearby, you say? What would you consider to be good boundaries to set with people? I think definitely exploring what kind of makes them laugh, what kind of holds them back. It's okay to toe a line just to kind of figure out where they're at, but you can do that without necessarily being mean, right, or cruel. And yeah, absolutely. When you do, especially if you're doing inside jokes to a select group with other people who aren't in on that inside joke, you got to make sure that you're ready to explain those, otherwise you'll leave people out.
Good work, everyone. Okay, let's
Analog
move
slot
on.
machines, just in a person in a case holding up cards. Goodness.
All right.
What would be good boundaries to set with people? Marissa, what's a good example of setting a boundary with somebody? Sure, absolutely. Yeah, Marissa was saying like, let's say you have a friend who is always asking you to help out with homework, and it's at this point just assumed that you're going to help them out with their
Spotted a
homework.
will seed. Let's
But you don't
appropriate
necessarily have time for that. Or you are uncomfortable because they keep pushing for more and like, can I see your answers? Can I write down what you got? Making sure that you establish yourself how people treat you and how you want to be treated.
That's our second will seed. This is going rather well.
So can I see your answers? No. Bad. Literally, we're currently in a situation where everybody has to try to set boundaries for others to make sure we don't all get sick and die. And people really don't like setting those boundaries. They feel uncomfortable thinking about the fact that they have to set boundaries on their own, right? They have to be conscious about the boundaries that they set.
Surprise attack.
People don't like thinking about things like that. Is those things are more than just a source of desire? Yeah, we'll figure it out soon enough, I'm sure. Slice it up.
Now, let's continue. Good work, everyone.
Or like,
That's a new
something that my
skill.
family could be better
Let's
about.
try it out.
And I don't know if they're listening or not, in which case I apologize. Someone in my family is kind of okay, well, how do I want to word this? Occasionally our family will go out with a certain person out to eat different places, or we'll do experiences with them and stuff, and they never offer to pay, right? They always just assume that the family is going to pay for them, and that's just the end of it. And there's a failure on two fronts there, isn't there? Number one, there's a failure on the person who is kind of mooching to be like, hey, it's not quite right for you to constantly just assume that we're going to pay for all these things every time we go somewhere. But on the other side of it, it is also wrong for people to assume that the other person will read that, right?
I feel like I need more.
You would hope that eventually someone would pick up on that. But if they aren't, it's the onus is on the person who's being picked upon to do something about it. Hey, isn't that a terminal? Can you mess with it and figure out how they're cheating, Oracle? Well, this one's on standby. Yeah? I don't, my dear. I want to say 1958, but I could be wrong. Somebody actually in chat would probably know better. Folks, what is the donation amount for the Tim Curry space sound?
I see.
So we have all these different terminals, but we have no way of accessing them yet. Sweet! I can't believe that worked. So wait, when people take off the mask and show up Persona, they kind of go Super Saiyan, yeah. The will seeds are apparently like the source of a certain amount of power in these palaces, and we kind of collect them. They're really just doohickeys to get a special. If you collect all three, you get yourself a special doohickey. That's really all there is to it. Nothing particularly fancy. Break that for great cufflinks.
Oh,
For our friend from high school, in the conversation frequently turned to your love life, try to get you to ask another old friend who's very close platonic friend. Yeah, absolutely. Just because you may be comfortable with certain ideas and certain conversation pieces doesn't mean that the people in that same people that you're conversing with are also excited about discussing that further. As an example of being caught having to talk about your love life, which you may not be comfortable talking about, but someone is cajoling you into doing so, right? And they're doing all the auspices of like, I'm just picking on you, it's fun, but that might not be comfortable. Another example, for those of you who like them D&Ds out there and you're playing like imaginative games like that, is you need to check in with your players to make sure what they're comfortable with and what they're not. Because frequent times you might run into situations in-game where that might be something that they really don't want to talk about. So on standby as well. Jesus. Some of the standby terminals. But terminals do well. In a sense, they're computers, right? The trouble is that all these terminals are currently off, so we need to go find a real one. We got to go find the main computer, I should say. Back in the olden days of computers, terminals were you'd have a computer in one big room because you needed a whole room to have a computer going, right? They were just giant. And so the access points for the humans that used them, they didn't have to be the size of the computer. They could just be the keyboard and the screen. So they would have to be so they would call them terminals because they would be places where people could connect to the computer from, right? You're going through, there's an uncomfortable aspect of kidnapping players or binding them or depriving them of freedom or things like that can be uncomfortable to players, right? And you really want to make sure that you are accommodating how people are feeling about those things. And I think too, and this may sound a little unpopular, and let it be said that I fully disagree with the position. But I think to a certain point, leveling with people who don't want to wear masks beyond you suck, I think is going to be a little bit more persuasive than you suck, right?
Hey.
And you kind of have to reach out where people's where people's discomfort is, find the root of it, and then try to work from there. If that makes sense. So no touch of going on, said Franny's still on the assumption that he was pursuing her, yeah. You were just in denial, Cutting Dolphin. He knew you were just in denial about the whole thing. And he wanted to make sure that he gave you that opportunity because he's kind of a jerk. Is this a good enough computer? Probably not, huh? Boo. Yep, 1957 is definitely the number then. I was close. I was 1 cent off. But does that make sense? Again, kind of leading it back to what we were doing tonight. Like, improv is a lot about listening to people. And sometimes it's more about listening than it is you talking. You might think of, like, improv stuff as, like, making funny jokes. But when it comes down to it, it's more like engaging with your fellow performers. And sometimes that by yourself means that you're just engaging with whatever's in front of you. And listening and reacting a little bit more and being aware of what's going on. And where the emotions are in the room. Sorry, wait, what are you talking about? I wasn't listening. I can go in here, huh? Kind of surprised by that. Well, this has been Shadow Temple's Philosophy Hour. Not to be confused with Shadow Temple's Falafel Hour, which is a lot more delicious. Give me anything, Marissa. Oh, dear. Oh, is there something back here that I didn't touch? I think I've already been here, haven't I? These hot takes are pretty tasty, yeah. Let me double check over here real quick. This song is a banger. A banger, I agree.
Going to space, going there. Can't wait. Gotta go. Space, going.
Thank you much for the 1969, Pistol Hawk. Do you have any more questions or anything? Of course, I mean, feel free to DM them if you want, but also feel free to like throw them out there in the public. It's fun to discuss things like this too, especially on a stream like this where there is very little plot happening and a whole lot of me wandering around through a casino. You know what I mean? God damn, look at all these freaking machines. This must be the main hall of the slot room. Whoa, that one back there is huge. We gotta go check it out, Joker. Alielite, thank you for the house. And reinstall Portal 2. It's a good game. It's a good game. Hipster, by the way, I think is playing Portal 1 for Zeldathon Side Quest, which is coming up on Friday, guys. Starting 4 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be playing. Thank you to Trina for the 1616. Let me read those comments here in just a moment. Hey, look!
Your true form.
It's the free drink lady. It's not being in a palace, it does it? Yes and no. I mean, the persona part was definitely kind of leaning into that. But I really do notice that I tend to talk over people whenever I work through stuff. Whenever I'm just chatting with somebody and I like finish sentences and things, which people could take as very, very rude. I gotta be better about that. I think it was a part of that came up actually, by the way, from my dad would start a sentence and then he would just kind of trail off for a little bit as he tried to think about the last word or two. And if nobody gave him anything, he would kind of like get mad about it. So I got really used to finishing people's thoughts before they finished them. Out of anxiety. And so every time I do it, it's not because I want to like get to the end of your conversation faster. It's because I'm bad. Want to explain the charity? Yeah, Direct Relief, for those unaware, is an organization that provides relief aid around the world, all 50 states and a whole bunch of different countries, 80 countries in total, in fact. The idea being that they are working hard to provide personal protective equipment, PPE, to places around the world who need it, especially in this current COVID epidemic. They also deliver food and medical supplies to people around the world who are in need. It's an awesome organization. If you guys want to donate, be sure to go to donate.zeldathon.net. And we'll keep raising money where we can. The free drink lady. Yeah, in casinos, there's always one where her entire job is to go up to people and it's like, you want a drink? And you're like, yeah. And she'll give you a drink for free. And you usually just have to like give a buck or two as a tip. And the trick is that they just want you drunk so that you spend more money at the tables and don't think about it. They don't do that anymore, though, and it may have been killed off officially now that COVID's around for the rest of its existence. But it was fun back in the day. Yes, absolutely. A lot of nurture, not so much nature when it comes to interacting with people, right? Marvel Rising, I've not heard necessarily. Beirut needs to really end right now after the explosion. It's true. Terrifying thing, that explosion out there in Lebanon.
All right.
They were no match for.
It's also a good reminder not to store your sodium nitrate altogether unprotected in like 2,000 tons worth for 6 years. That sounds like a joke, but I mean it more as like, holy crap, guys, we got to be careful about these things because it can be a result in a huge loss of human life. And your actions do have consequences, especially apathy. Does anybody else worry a lot about whether or not they're a good person? Constantly. I think you're I think you are truly only human when you lay down in bed and as you're about to go to bed, you run through all the terrible things that you've said to people over the course of your entire life. I still can tell you, one time I really hurt a kid's feelings in 7th grade. Because I run that scenario in my head over and over again, and I'm like, how could I have handled that better? Because I didn't mean to hurt their feelings, but I definitely did. Because it was a poor choice of words that I used. I think it's important to worry about whether or not you're a good or bad person. Because the instant you start assuming that you're a good person is the instant you start becoming a bad person. It doesn't mean that you have to be like... I'll tell you what I said to him in a minute. It doesn't mean that you have to be like constantly down upon yourself and constantly in this anxious fit. But it's good to be self-reflective, right? Oh, sorry, I'm Flaming Fire, but we try not to reveal any information that would indicate our age in chat. To do so, at best, means that people know that you are young or old.
Joker.
And at worst means that someone who is very irresponsible with that kind of information could use it for very nefarious means. And also, not to say you are, but if you're under the age of 13 and you inform me of that, I have to remove you from my community. It's part of it's literal federal law, and it's terms of service for Twitch. So, yeah. Giant slot machine.
Come on, man.
Do you know Shadows 50? I read it on the internet. It's true. And the internet's never wrong. We deleted the message for you, Flamey. You're good. Do not worry. All cleared out, all safe. And you didn't know. It's okay. Totally fine. Just there was a moderator who was on top of it. All right, anyway. Holy shit, this thing's freaking huge. One play costs 5K. Wait, all cherries wins you 5,000 coins. Bar gives you 10,000. While 777 gives you 50,000. Whoa, that'll get us all the coins we need in one fell swoop. Assuming you can win, that is. If the reward's high, the risk will surely be high as well.
Do you have a moment?
Thank you, Bristol, for the host, by the way. I appreciate it. Either way, our goal here is to gain a member's card for the high limit floor. It would make the most sense for us to utilize the slot machine in some way. Some way, shape, or form. However, let me guess, we'll need to stop their cheating first. There's no doubt this one's rigged too. I'm glad you understand. Now then, let us search the area. Hopefully we'll find something that can give us a little more information about this slot. There's probably a terminal for infill back behind the thing. Try looking there, Joker. Yeah, no, $100 slots. Usually these giant slot machines that are casinos are usually a big old ripoff. There's a very low chance of you winning huge, like a car or something. And sometimes they'll have like a car and like a big old gotcha ball or something like that. And it's like, oh yeah, all you gotta do is win the keys from the slot machine and then you can drive away in the car. That's all. One pull of the slot machine costs $50. Anyway, it's so hard to remember those things. Yeah, I hear you. No, it's not fun. And those are painful reminders that'll stick with you for a while, and it's not great. But it's important. I think it's important to reflect on things behind us, even if it does hurt. Just don't get too stuck on things, right? Yes, Flamey Fire. But I do not have a place to burn it in my apartment. I live in an apartment where not even candles are allowed. So I'll have to wait until I get to my parents or something like that, and I'm going to wait until after Zeldathon to kind of make a bigger splash, if you will. But, yeah. More crane machines. You say that, but there are actually a lot of, not necessarily crane machines, but there are, like, pusher machines in casinos that are really, like, frighteningly addictive and predatory. There's even on cruise ships. Remember those, Marissa? Like the cruise ships with like those pushing arcade games? Where they'd be like, oh yeah, you just gotta line up this little push little rod, and if you push it through this hole, you'll earn $500. And it's like, I see the $500 right there. They're just fanned out in sets of 100. This is great. And you like set it up, it's like, I got it. And then you hit the button and it's like, oh. Hey Black Sparrow, how you doing? Can you also please clean up the glass? I know it's sugar glass, but it's still kind of dangerous. You can still cut yourself if you're not careful. How you doing tonight? Trying to learn from it, trying to let it control you. Because that's actually one thing in improv that comes up a lot. People care significantly less about what you're doing on a moment-to-moment basis than you actually think. Now, if you're like constantly harassing somebody, that's gonna hurt a lot. But if you make a mistake somewhere, you should apologize. But that's not going to like stick in their head for the rest of their lives like it's going to stick in your head for the rest of your life.
Ooh, a terminal. I should be able to access all the slots in this area from here. Let's see.
Put some water down to dissolve the water. There you go.
Oh, they're going really hard on this whole cheating angle. We wouldn't have won a penny here.
Do you think they'll be able to disable the rigging of it?
Not from this terminal. It looks like there are multiple different color control panels throughout this area.
Yeah, again. Don't be like, oh yeah, well if they don't remember it as well as I think they do, I'll just go through and just pick on their worst insecurities. That makes you a terrible person. But like, as long as you recognize your mistake and you apologize for it, more likely than not, you can fix things. More so than I think you think so. Just watch the streamer complete this balance. There you go. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Sorry, I just had to take a sip. And of course, Naku wasn't saying you specifically, Liz, just in general, right?
Out of those, I need the red and green ones. I should be able to control things from there.
Do you know where we can find them, though?
This is me we're talking about, right? I can predict where they might be. One's most likely near the entrance to this area. The comlink ran all the way out there. And the other should be back in the staff area, or staff-only area. Somewhere. That's all I can figure out.
The entrance to the slot area, and somewhere back in the staff-only area.
I guess we'll just have to go looking for them. Let's hurry up and get this done fast.
What's the difference between improv and performance arts versus a talk show? Like you mean like the two kind of bits of improv that people might be doing? Because both obviously require some type of improvisation. Just one will kind of set itself up in a different way from the other, right? Blow 'em up!
All right, Joker! Good work, everyone. Good work, everyone.
So if you're like talking about, if you're literally physically talking about like the difference between like an improv show and a talk show, an improv show will explicitly set up activities and things to or facilitate
They were no match for us.
just kind of new made-up ideas on the spot, right? Usually that's in the form of like little mini games that people play, or like audience participation, which if you ever watched Who's Line, you know exactly what I mean by that. If, meanwhile, like a talk show, the talk might be spontaneous, but the topics of conversation typically aren't. And to do so like that makes for a really long-winded and just kind of nonsensical talk show, if that makes sense. You want to have some direction of where you're going with that stuff. Otherwise, people will just be like, ugh, I don't know where you're going with this. Improv performance art typically is relatively short form in that it's usually no longer than like an ideal live out for like 10, 15 minutes and then stop. The only exception to that really right now especially is like Dungeons and Dragons, which is a lot of improvisation, but still kind of built off the structural kind of the scaffolding that the Dungeon Master puts out there. If that all makes sense.
Now just don't lose.
Who's my favorite character in Persona? In Persona 5 specifically, or Persona in general? Because Persona in general, of course, it's Chie, because Chie is best girl. Followed by Naoto, followed by Makoto.
Right, Joker! Good work, everyone. Just like I thought.
Ooh, you're right, Marissa. You're absolutely right. I think I like Makoto more than I like Naoto.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was an easy win. Let's go, Joker.
Marissa has my best interest at heart. Excuse me. So I'm looking for a red and green. That's a purpley one. I don't want a purpley one. I don't think this is where I want to go, actually.
That's a shadow. Joker, what are we going to do?
Not a shadow.
I've been doing all right. Cannot complain. Like I said, I did a 90-minute improv workshop today with the studio or the improv house that I've taken classes from in the past. Got a bunch of Zelda founders involved, and I think they had a really good time of it. And I'm hoping to do more of them in the future. It'd be super cool if I could convince them to let me stream one. I don't think they'd be super excited about it, unless they got paid a big amount of money. But I think it'd be pretty dang cool if we could.
Joker, now, let's continue. Okay,
Is you
let's
have to
move
scramble
on.
as the DM on what your players spontaneously decide to do. Absolutely. How about this? Chie?
Excellent technique, Joker.
Chie Makoto Kanji. Naoto Haru. I'm trying to think who I like from Persona 3. And the only one I can think of is the dog. Like, they're fine in Persona 3, but I don't know. I like Persona 4 and 5 kids better. Yukari's fine, but she's just kind of, she's a little bit more kind of generic compared to some of the other ones. Her personality is hardworking and well-intentioned girl. Which is also, unfortunately, kind of what An is, if I'm being honest.
All right.
Very similar, I would say very similar styles between Yukari and An. Welcome back, Salty. I was not a huge fan of Ken, personally. Koromaru, yep, best pup. Am I a potato? Not that I'm aware of. All right, we got our red one. All right, we got the green one. Now we're just getting into the red one, which is, I think, in front of the casino. Or, like, in the front of the casino. I shouldn't just say in the front, yeah, you know what I mean. Anywho. First time on Twitch, and you found this first. Well, welcome, CMCB872. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday evening? You mean Yukari, what, she became the Pink Ranger, right? She became an actress. An actress. What's Fuka like besides sucking? Ow! Oh, sucking at cooking. I read sucking and cooking. It was like, well, that's not very nice.
Show me your true form.
You're very distracted. What are you distracted by, Blacksbro, if I may ask?
Now's our chance. Beat him up.
Baby half malice werewolf hated me. It's true. It's very true.
All will be revealed.
Fuko is an excellent support character, and she was super nice. Oh, yeah, Aigis was pretty cool in Persona 3. That's true. Is it bad the only characters I really like Persona 3 were a dog and a robot? I have not played Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, no, but I have a vague notion of what some of the characters did after Persona 4 and 3 based on that stuff. Baseball mostly. Did baseball happen today? Out of curiosity. I'm pretty sure. Are you a VA? I have known to Va every so often. Va with the best of them, Va with the worst of them. Do you mean go, or do you mean voice act?
Okay.
Ha ha! Jokes!
Complete victory. Now let's keep going.
Anyway. Shouldn't have followed for that.
Show me
But thank you much for the follow, by the way. I appreciate it. Does that post right as she films it? I'll tell you, it kind of depends on when it's happening, but, or when she has time to record, but the video that came out today, Tell Your Nightmare is blind and voices everywhere. Help! That's pretty good. I've not heard that before, but I like that. The Baby Werewolf one that we did last night, we ended recording at about 1:30 a.m. my time, and it came out 3 p.m. that same day. Jokes? No! Is he walking the streets? First stream was you with this one where he kept thinking cat, but he'd say it's not cat. It's true. That's right. Must have been tired every day of my life. Every day of my life. Also, how you doing, Falcon was taken. 3 good, clean jokes. My goodness. You guys, come on. Come on.
Let's catch your breath. Good
For what
work,
it's worth,
everyone.
Marissa, my fiance in the back, is still cracking up about that. What is the hardest part about voice acting? I'd say trying to read the mind of the director.
Done already? How disappointing.
I've run into a few directors now who are like, you should know what I want. I'm like, but I don't. Like really understanding what the thing that you're doing actually calls for. That's something that I'm pretty bad at personally. On a stream on YouTube, no one replies. Well, welcome to Twitch, baby. Twitch is a very interactive place where people actually like talk to each other. It's nice. F must be easy then in terms of recording. No, those recordings are not easy to do. We started recording at about 11 or about 11 my time. We finished at 1:30. So that 15-minute video took about 2.5 hours to record. There are supposed to be voice directions, but sometimes
The advantage.
there are, and sometimes a lot of times there aren't. Or it'll be like, hold on. I'll literally give you a this is an audition I received. Not recently, but kind of recently, all right? So here you go. You ready? This was for a cell phone commercial, okay? And the language that they had for it to describe what they were looking for was young, energetic male and female with an interesting voice that brings energy and attitude to the read. What the fuck does that mean? Right? Like, where are you supposed to go with that? What do you mean you want energy and you want it to be young? Or like this one. This here's another line. You ready? And this was for a. Oh, what was this for? It doesn't matter. These are for commercials. All right. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Appreciate it. So they're like, seeing talent with a natural speaking voice that is not immediately apparent as being either clearly masculine or feminine. That's interesting. Like that part right there, that actually explains what sort of tone they're looking for. So you're not trying to find certain kind of gruffness or certain femininity or something like that. Something you're trying to go for something a little more androgynous, which is interesting. But here's the last line in it, and this is where it becomes like, okay. Conversational, confident, and likable performer has an effortless ability to connect to a listener one-on-one. What does that mean? And that happens all the time with auditions and things. Is that like they'll give you something like that, like make sure it's conversational in tone, as opposed to shouting, as opposed to argumentative, as opposed to what, right? Yeah, they know the target demographic, but they expect the VA to have market research, right? But you don't know, you don't always necessarily know the product, right? Like sometimes it's really easy. It's like, oh, cell phone program, great, fantastic, cool. Sometimes it's like a business-to-business agency that provides a service or a product that you've never encountered in your life and don't know anything about it.
Huh. It seems they were not a very formidable opponent.
Oh, I'll play the video game as well, don't worry. How hard is portraying the raw emotion like voicing a heated argument, for example? It depends whether or not you get embarrassed by things, I think is the best way to describe that. I'll explain that a little bit more. I'm just going to hit some quick questions real quick. Is it all role play, the videos that we do? It's Minecraft. We play Minecraft. Yeah, and we're also, Aphmau and crew live in the state of Washington. I live in Wisconsin, so they're on the West Coast, I'm in the Midwest, so no. Your voice is like crazy, Shadow, can I call you Pierce? You can call me whatever you like, as long as it's nice and not mean. Yeah, I would say, generally, you just kind of have to be... You have to be willing to kind of put yourself out there and not be embarrassed about you going somewhere, right? If you're trying to get a raw emotion out there, and you really, really need to make people know that you are upset about the situation that you're in, and you can't believe that they would ever think you otherwise. You need to be willing to kind of get out there and put that energy out there and not be like, sorry, afterwards, right? Commit to it. And if it's always actually this came up in the improv today. It is a lot easier to put yourself out there and then realize you need to dial it back than to try to start small and work your way outward from there, if that makes sense. Always easier to go out with more bang and then bring that back over time.
How about this?
All right, see you, Flammy.
Oracle, would it be possible to also tamper with the average win percentages for the slot machines? So you want to take advantage of the system just like we did for the dice game? Essentially. My aim here is to do the giant slot machine.
Huh?
Hey, Silver Moon, how you doing? How did I meet Aphmau? I've never met her in my life. Good player to the group. I'm glad to hear it, but we are not... joining Aphmau's crew is more of a we'll call you than you call them.
You mean the ones that's 5,000 coins a play? I don't know if that's really possible. Ooh, sounds like fun to me. Just give me a sec.